Welcome to Deep Dive Defense, military and aerospace enthusiasts. Over here we give rare insights you won't hear elsewhere. Today's video takes a look at the military options Israel has for striking Iran's nuclear facilities, as it has repeatedly threatened to be intending. However, such a strike remains far from certain, and is more plausibly interpreted as psychological warfare aimed at destabilizing Iran's economy. This video will outline the technical and operational reasons why that is. In 2024, Israel publicly disclosed previously classified capabilities, most notably the Golden Horizon air-launched Ballistic-missile, deployed during the April and October retaliation strikes on Iran. Videos on both operations are linked above. A second unconfirmed weapon system is Israel's alleged Ra-01 long-range stealth drone. While details about this platform are scarce, analysts assess it likely functions as a carrier for standoff land attack cruise missiles, small, low-observable munitions designed for salvo launches. These weapons exploit their small size, stealthy design, and terrain masking techniques to evade air defenses and strike high-value targets. The 2024 exchanges between Iran and Israel displays Israel's need to rely on such advanced, specialized systems to penetrate Iranian defenses and engage critical facilities. Both the Golden Horizon and Ra-01 employ unique solutions to counter missile interception and radar detection. A defining trait of these weapons, their compact size, also creates a significant limitation when confronting targets buried deep beneath hardened rock formations. Against such defenses, the alleged Wind Demon or Icebreaker compact cruise missiles used in the October 24th strike would prove ineffective, and even the Golden Horizon ballistic missile lacks the kinetic energy and mass required to inflict critical damage on Iran's deeply tunneled facilities. The Golden Horizon's design includes an initially hypersonic glide vehicle that decelerates to supersonic speeds during terminal descent. This enables rapid response times and reduced thermal signature, as the glider's apparent stealth design minimizes radar signatures. A stark contrast to terminally faster Iranian ballistic missiles like the Khaybar-Shikan, which generate intense heat during re-entry, rendering them well detectable. The Golden Horizon's supersonic terminal velocity, in turn, enhances its penetration capability against hardened structures. When paired with a high-precision guidance system and a slender sub-caliber penetrator warhead, its relatively low mass is offset by high impact velocity. However, these advantages are constrained when targeting Iran's mountain tunnel complexes. Iran's nuclear sites vary in vulnerability. Softer targets, such as centrifuge production workshops, can be neutralized by quadcopters or lightweight drones. Facilities with passive defenses, like Natanz's centrifuge R&D complex, protected by reinforced mesh roofing, demand more capable assets, such as the Wind Demon cruise missile. A once again more challenging target is the Natanz fuel enrichment plant, constructed in the early 2000s. This facility consists of concrete vaults buried about 30 meters underground, shielded by multiple layers of reinforced concrete and earth. Its design is explicitly made to counter strikes by U.S. origin penetrator bombs, like the BLU-109 or GBU-28 laser-guided bunker busters, potentially necessitating more capable penetrators or alternative targeting strategies for neutralization. The approximately 25 years since the construction of the Natanz site have not yielded air-dropped bunker busters with substantially greater penetration capacity, excluding the GBU-57. However, advancements in guidance systems for precision-guided munitions have enabled successive strikes on the same point with extremely low circular error probable, CEP. This capability was reportedly demonstrated in September 2024, when Israel targeted the underground bunker of Hezbollah's leader, Sayed Hassan Nasrallah, in Beirut. The absence of hard rock overburden at that site allowed soil eroded and ejected by initial hits to be carried away in large dust clouds, enabling follow-up impacts to progressively deepen the penetration. Applying this tactic to Natanz, however, faces significant challenges. While repeated strikes on a single point could theoretically breach the facility's earth and reinforced concrete layers, the site is situated 600 kilometers inside Iranian territory. Furthermore, Iran is acutely aware of Natanz's status as a priority target for Israel, making it highly prepared to counter such plans. GPS jamming and spoofing could disrupt the precision guidance required for consecutive hits, while dust clouds generated by initial explosions would obscure optical terrain correlation targeting systems, lowering the required accuracy level. Even if Israel mounted a prolonged air campaign to reach Natanz, successfully penetrating the facility would remain uncertain. Neutralizing Iran's integrated air defense network to render the enrichment plant completely defenseless would also demand extensive U.S. involvement, a currently politically unattractive scenario. The Golden Horizon air-launched Ballistic-missile, however, presents a potential solution to Natanz. Its operational range allows secure launches from Iraqi airspace, bypassing the need for deep penetration into Iranian airspace. The missile's high terminal velocity and low observable glide vehicle complicates interception by Iran's missile defenses, which are less advanced and densely deployed than Israel's. During Iran's Operation True Promise 2, even Israel's high-end dense missile defense network, augmented by high-end U.S. assets like the Standard Missile-3, struggled to intercept Iran's ballistic missiles due to their quantity and sophistication. This precedent suggests Iran's less advanced defenses would also fail in terms of reaction time against the Golden Horizon's speed, evasive maneuvering, and stealth. The missile's ability to penetrate Natanz's hardened layers hinges on its technical details. Its supersonic terminal velocity, combined with a sub-caliber bunker-buster warhead, compensates for its low mass by concentrating kinetic energy on a minimal impact area. Here, the Golden Horizon's advanced inertial navigation system allows it to receive its final GPS update at large distances, like altitudes of up to 40 kilometers and ranges of 100 kilometers from the target. At such distances, Iranian GPS jamming or spoofing becomes exponentially less effective, ensuring the missile's guidance remains unaffected from interference. With INS maintaining precision independently of external signals post-update, the Golden Horizon could reliably strike the same spot on Natanz's defenses repeatedly, overcoming both passive hardening and active electronic warfare. This capability positions it as a credible tool for causing critical damage to the facility, even without total air superiority. Additionally, Israel could stagger missile launches over extended time intervals, permitting dust clouds to dissipate before subsequent strikes. This would enable terrain correlation seekers to accurately target the same impact point. Consequently, the Natanz facility, designed to withstand older bunker-buster technologies, has become vulnerable to Israel's newly unveiled capabilities. In contrast, the Fordow enrichment site presents far less favorable prospects for neutralization, whether through aerial campaigns or Golden Horizon. While Natanz's soft soil overburden significantly erodes into dust upon impact, Fordow's granite geology resists such erosion. Repeated strikes at Fordow would accumulate rock debris within the crater, obstructing penetration. To breach its 100+ meters of hard granite, an implausibly large number of Golden Horizon missiles would be required, rendering Fordow effectively immune to this weapon. Recent reports of U.S. sales of massive ordnance penetrators, MOPs, the GBU-57, to Israel also lack practicality. These 13,600 kilogram bunker busters can only be delivered by heavy bombers such as the B-2 or B-52 during full-scale conflicts. For Israel to deploy them via a vulnerable C-130 transport aircraft over Fordow, Iran's entire air defense network would need to be neutralized in advance, a feat achievable only after months of intensive war, if at all. Even if US B-2 bombers, escorted by fighters, conducted multiple precision strikes after a prolonged air defense suppression campaign, literally dozens of GBU-57 hits on the same point might still be necessary to critically damage the facility. The theory that shockwaves from strikes could destabilize Iran's uranium centrifuges is equally questionable. Centrifuges at Natanz and Fordow are mounted on shock-absorbing platforms to mitigate vibrations from nearby explosions. Furthermore, if Fordow were used for rapid uranium enrichment, called breakout, an attacker would face severe time constraints. A multi-week air defense suppression campaign would allow Iran to produce enough highly enriched uranium for multiple warheads before the site could be neutralized. And that's not taking Iran's offensive regional airbase suppression strategy, utilizing its vast ballistic missile arsenal into account. In summary, Israel can reliably target softer sites like centrifuge production workshops and even the Natanz enrichment plant using Golden Horizon. However, Fordow remains immune to unilateral conventional Israeli action, and even with US support, neutralizing it would demand a protracted, high-risk conflict. Notably, Iran continues installing advanced IR-6 centrifuges at Natanz, rather than relocating them to Fordow, suggesting it does not perceive Natanz to be at credible risk. This calculus seems to be shaped by mutual deterrence. During Operation True Promise 2, Iran demonstrated its capacity to overwhelm Israeli missile defenses. It hence could do so again, but this time concentrating large salvos on single targets. This constitutes a credible capability to threaten Israel's nuclear facilities, such as the Dimona reactor. It creates a deterrence balance and eliminates Israeli escalation dominance. Neither side can decisively cripple the other's nuclear infrastructure without incurring catastrophic retaliation on its own nuclear sites. Thus, in conclusion, a preemptive Israeli strike on Iran remains highly improbable, as key targets are either invulnerable or protected by a deterrence balance in which none of the sides have the escalation dominance required to reach their respective desired goals. So that's all for today. If you liked it, give a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. It really makes a difference in the YouTube algorithm and is a great support to the channel. The Real Enthusiast can become members and given access to exciting membership area material. Thanks for your support and motivation. See you next time.